All right, folks, it's 6 o'clock. We have a full agenda, so we're going to get started with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone, for attending tonight. We'll cover some initial business before we get started with some regular business. We'll first review and sign payroll and accounts payable. So for this week, dated July 15th, 2025, we have payroll in the amount of $41,264. We have payroll taxes of $10,084. By the way, I'm not reading off the cents. If anyone wants the cents, I could, but I'm just reading the dollar amounts. We also have accounts payable for separate accounts payable for the period ending 7/12 in the amount of $17,321. We also have accounts payable in the amount of $28,977. So I will take a motion to accept the payroll register for signature.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, we have the consent agenda. This week, the consent agenda includes public minutes of May 20th, 2025, public minutes of June 17th, 2025, July 1st, 2025, July 8th, 2025, and non-public minutes from July 8th, 2025. It also includes the rec manifest and the building permits. So is there any discussion with regard to the consent agenda and those public minutes?
Nope.
Yeah, I'd like to remove, hold on, whatever minutes we got today, I'd like to remove, since we haven't had a chance to look at them yet. 7-1 minutes, it looks like.
It was the 7-8 minutes that we got today? Or
7-1.
7-1? All right, we can, is there agreement to table the 7-1 minutes having received them today, or is people comfortable with the 7-1 minutes as they are?
I looked them over. I'm comfortable with them, but
I did too, and I'm comfortable with them.
I'm fine. I could go either way, but
It's okay. If you don't agree, that's okay.
Are you okay with
Yeah.
moving it along? Okay, then, all in favor of the public minutes, the non-public minutes, the recreation manifest, and the building permits, as I've set forth, is there a, I'll move, is there a second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
We'll sign the consent agenda, and you don't have to if you don't like.
I would prefer not to. Thank you.
Okay. So I know we have people here to talk about Casella and curbside pickup, but I also know that we also have people here to deal with committee appointments and selections as well. I'm going to use my discretion to start with committee appointments and selections unless people feel strongly otherwise.
Was everyone notified that that was going to be tonight? Because it wasn't on the agenda.
It was not specifically on the agenda, but I think it was well known to everyone that tonight wasn't on the written agenda, but I think it was well known to everyone that that was going to happen tonight. I think that was advertised to all of the committees.
That was my question. I wanted to make sure all the applicants knew that that was going to be tonight.
That's my understanding.
Okay.
Yes, I I emailed the board's committee chairs to let them know that their candidates would be discussed tonight.
Okay, in the future, could we also just get it on the agenda so anyone from the public that might want to know could also join us? Thanks.
So first up on the agenda is conservation. Is someone in the audience here from conservation? Okay, who wants to speak to the appointments? Right,
I think there was
Becky sent us an email.
there's a email from the chair about her being out of town.
Yeah.
Correct.
correct. Let me go to that.
Dated July 13th.
Okay. So Becky Dunham tells us that she'll be out of town due to unforeseen circumstances. Below is a summary of various contributions to the commission's work. Heather Dudley Tatman for a 3-year term, as well as Jeff Dvorak for a 3-year term. Both are well qualified and are participating members of the commission. I can get into the specifics of their qualifications, but I don't think it's necessary. I was at the Conservation Commission. I am the liaison to the commission, and tell you that both are very involved. Both are very qualified, and there's really no contest in terms of these applications, because basically there are 2 terms available for 3 years and 2 people who have applied. So,
Looks like 3 people applied.
well, there's Rebecca Dunham is the 3rd person
Nope, there is an application from Christopher Nip.
as an alternative, as an alternate to the Conservation Commission. So Mr. Nip had attended for the first time at the Conservation Commission last Wednesday. He seemed very interested, was spoken to about applying to be an alternate, and apparently he did so. So that's another available position for us to vote on. So we can vote on those, I think, as a slate. I can tell you that Becky Dunham did ask to be on the 1-year term for the Conservation Commission because of personal and travel commitments. She will be stepping down as chair, so the commission will need to find a new chair. I can tell you that she's done just a wonderful and fantastic job as chair in leading that commission to
Yes, she really has.
a really excellent place. She had also been leading the Open Space Committee, and Rob Wolfchuk has agreed to take over as the lead of the Open Space Committee. That's really just an FYI, because that's not something for purposes of formal selection on our part. So I would entertain a motion to move the slate, as we just spoke about, which would be Heather Dudley Tatman, Jeff Dvorak, Rebecca Dunham, and Christopher Nip.
Is there an alternate position open?
Yes.
That's Nip, correct? Is
Nip.
who is going to be
Sorry.
the alternate.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, sorry. Answer your question, but
Yes, there is.
I'd make a motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
There also, in our package, looks to be a
Rec Commission?
cemetery trustee. Came up first was the cemetery trustee as a new appointment for Elaine Lynch. Can you, someone speak? First off, is Ms. Lynch here? Okay, but you could speak to it, Mr. Hajar.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Elaine had contacted us several months ago, actually, and turned in an application. She was actually at our last meeting. And since we only had one other person, we have 2 openings, and we're gonna, I didn't realize you were doing this tonight. We are recommended the two that applied, Caleb Labe, as well as, and Caleb had submitted his, you approved it for 1 month, right? And used the same form because it's only 6 weeks old. Caleb will be staying on for his 3rd year as an alternate, and Elaine will also be our second alternate so again, I didn't realize you were doing this evening, but that's okay. If you just would do both Caleb and Elaine, both of them have submitted forms, and they've actually done work with us already, and we're really glad to have them.
Yeah, Mr. Labby, we previously approved of as an alternate, and this would be a new alternate, Ms. Lynch. So I entertain a motion for both.
What would the terms be?
1-year terms, right?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yep. Okay. And then finally, we have rec. And is there someone here to speak to that? Wherever you want.
Wherever you're comfortable, Andy.
I normally like it up there. I'll try to follow the rules. All right. So as always, thank you for having me tonight. Everyone should have the applications in front of them with the 4 applicants that applied. We had 2 full board seats with 1 alternate, with 3 of the 4 applicants interested in full year terms and 1 interested with an alternate. They're all 4 of them have been rec volunteers in the past, and because we greatly value all of the applicants, the rec commission voted and approved to add of another alternate position so we could try to find a home for all 4 applicants here. And the 2 that the rec commission has nominated or recommended to the select board for the 2 full 3-year terms is the current chair, Julie Valevis. I apologize if I mispronounce that. Valevis. And then the second nomination was Joseph Tamick, and that was for the second full 3-year term. And then Laura Hajar and Joanne Phillips, we nominated for the 1-year alternate spots.
And not to get hung up on nomenclature, Andy, but it's really not a nomination per se. It's really a recommendation because ultimately it's the select board who is making.
Okay. So that is what the Recreation Commission recommends to the select board.
And is there agreement from the applicants, or does the applicants who are in the audience wish to speak at all? You're fine with it? Okay. Okay. If everyone's good with it, then we have a slate of 2 full, and that would be for 1,
2
years?
3-year terms.
and the alternates would be 1-year terms?
Correct.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
I will make a motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yep. I think, oh, no, we have
Regional Association.
Regional Association
And I think library trustees too.
Committee, Dawn Hannick. Is Ms. Hannick in the house? Okay, and do we know that there is that one available for a reappointment?
We have-
as an alternate?
There's multiple.
Just 2 people applying.
And Michelle Situate as a voting member. Both as reappointment,
Yeah, we're applying for reappointments.
both open and available positions. Okay.
They would,
So I'd entertain a motion on those as well, which would be a slate of Michelle Situate as a reappointed voting member to regional associations, as well as Dawn Hannick as a reappointment as an alternate.
is Michelle's term 3 years? Is that what is open?
I have to check, Laura, do you know the terms of the full members? Is it 3-year? Yeah, sorry.
Then I'll make the motion.
It would be a motion to reappoint for the same term.
Yep.
Okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Think? Have we now been through all the appointments? Excellent. Okay, good job.
There's also library trustees,
Ah,
alternates.
do we have someone to speak to that? Thank you, Janice.
Thank you. This is Janice from the library. So our board is looking to nominate Jen Bordis and Susan Lund. They are currently alternates on our board, and the board positions are for 1 year. There was a third alternate who recently had some familial issues and needed to step down. So the board decided that they were comfortable with having 2 alternates going forward as opposed to 3, as we've never needed 3. And we've never even really needed 2, but 2 gives us a little more flexibility. Both Jen and Susan have experience in the education fields, which is a perfect matchup for the library. So that would be the library recommendation. We did not have them do the applications because they did them last year. And nobody else, to my knowledge, applied. I had reached out to Andrea. She had not received any applications, and I did not as well.
So these would be 2 reappointments for 1-year alternate positions.
Correct.
Okay.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Jen Mortis and Susan Lund.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, aye.
Thank you. It's unanimous.
Now I think we're done.
Okay. Thank you. All right, the next item for discussion will be Casella curbside pickup. I see that Mr. Belanger has decided to join us. In our packages, I had asked, and actually the board had asked Andrea to draft a potential policy and procedure for curbside pickup. I can tell you that this is a draft only. It's open to discussion. It's open to amendment. It's pliable. I think it covered the high points in terms of our discussion from the work session. I'm glad Mr. Belanger is here in case there are any questions. I know one of the questions that Ms. Bedard had prior to the start of the meeting was whether or not you could purchase 95-gallon carts as an additional cart. And you're shaking your head in the negative? Okay. And a second question, I think, that followed that was, can you purchase a 65-gallon cart for either recycling or trash?
We don't sell carts, we rent them. So
Fair
you're using
enough.
the word purchase. That was in an email also, I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay. I think you had started it, to be honest.
It's a subscription program.
Yep. Okay.
And it's a rental subscription. Usually it runs with the contract start end dates, so July 1st to June 30th. And are you guys July 1st or January?
July 1st.
You're July, yeah. So
It
July
says in
1st,
here.
yeah. So so that we don't have, we don't take money from people if for some reason the end of the contract comes and we're not successful at getting it back. We don't have to.
But it's a one-time rental fee.
It's an annual rental fee.
Oh, so it's every year you have to pay that $225
Yes.
for the extra 65-gallon cart for
Right.
either recycling or trash. Am I understanding that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So the cost of disposal on recycling is sometimes a lot of times it's exceeding MSW now. They used to give out the,
What does that mean,
preventive purposes.
MSW?
They used to give the
What does that mean, MSW?
municipal solid waste, trash.
Okay.
It's a fancy word for trash, but,
Right.
so in the old days, like prior to 2018, when recyclables were actually worth money, a lot of towns, because I actually invented this program for the town of Hudson, to provide an outlet for hardship, right? People that had 10 people in a house, and the ordinance they came up with just didn't work. And back then, they would use it, they'd let you have a subscription for a one-time price per year, very minimal for the collection portion, but they wouldn't charge the disposal portion to incentivize people to recycle. But in today's modern world, the recycling is more expensive per ton to get rid of than trash is. So we blend them at the same rate.
But in terms of the contract cost, aren't we being charged more for, we're being charged more for recycling on a like a pro rata basis than trash?
Yeah, the average rate that, like, it goes up and down per month, okay? It's based on market rate. So I'm not sure, I haven't looked at it for a couple of months, but the last time I looked at it, recycling was around $100 a ton, and trash was just under that. So they've pretty much kind of come even. So in terms of how we price these now in new programs, we price them evenly because they've been pretty much head to head, so.
Are you talking about the tip fees? You're not talking about your costs. You're talking about what it costs us to get rid of.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, the tipping fees, yes.
So from an economic standpoint, there's no real incentive, is what you're saying?
So the purpose of this program is strictly to give extra services at an explainable rate to anyone that cannot make it on the program that you've decided to use. So whether it's a 95 and a 95 for trash and recycling, or a 65 and a 95 for trash and recycling, you're still going to have people that will need more capacity, and this gives them that outlet versus having to go and take it somewhere or hire someone to come to their house. That's strictly what we're talking about here.
So in our last work session, we had agreed to a 95 gallon for trash and 95 gallon for recycling. That won't cost us any more than the 95 and 65 that you had previously been proposing. Am I correct?
Correct. Are you familiar with the email that I sent?
I am familiar, but I just want you to state it on the record.
Yeah, no, I wanted to see if
And I want the public to understand it as well.
Yeah.
So, yes, I am familiar.
Well, can I just, and again, that's just for what we, the town, are contracting with you with, not for the cost of what it costs to get rid of the trash that people put in the bins, correct?
Correct. Casella is offering that subscription program for you to take it or leave it. It's up to you. It's not something we enjoy doing. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of confusion. A lot of people think they're entitled to it when they're not. And they confuse it with their tax dollars. It's really a private service that is being added on to a municipal service to try to help people that can't get by with whatever volumes are limited on a volume limit program. As for the size of the barrels, that's totally up to you. If you want to go 95, you're still going to have people that are not going to want 95-gallon bins, and that's more the question is,
Right.
How do we identify those people so that we can get it right the first time?
Right. Okay. I don't know if it's worth outlining what we at least have as a draft policy at this point for everyone before I open up the discussion, unless there's further questions.
Well, I think it's important that everybody knows, so I think we should go down the list and just make sure that everyone is aware of what we've, come up with in our work session.
Yep. So based on the work session, we came up with, and again, this is a summary, a 95-gallon container for trash, a 95-gallon container for recycling. If you need more capacity, you can buy an additional cart with additional carts limited to 65 gallons in size and costing $225 per year per cart. 2 bulky trash pickup days with a schedule of fees to be determined for bulky waste collection. Businesses will not be included unless they can prove that there's residential units or unit on their business. And then some general guidelines, which I think are more, sort of par for the course. Trash should be bagged and placed in the provided trash cart with the lid closed. Pick up on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, depending on location. Carts must be at the curb before 7 a.m. on collection day. Stuff that we're already used to. So that would be the general policy and procedure that we decided. But again, this is all flexible, pliable. We can talk about, amending this. And we also spoke about ultimately bringing this policy and procedure to town meeting in March to enact as an actual ordinance at town meeting so that it would be in our ordinances. Our council had told us that we cannot do that unless at a town meeting, hence why we drafted the policy and procedure. So that is where I think we were from the work session. I know there's been a lot of discussion in town since then as to, the issue of trash. And I'm open to hearing comments from the board, after which I will take comments from the public.
I think we should just add into bulky waste collection that there'll be a fee schedule at a later date or something to that effect, because
Schedule of fees to be determined. Yep. It's not in there at the moment, but yes.
yes,
Yeah, that would be an amendment. Correct.
I would like to propose that we continue with our trash pickup the way that it is until the end of the year. I understand that it would be an additional cost of around $4,000 a month, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
But that way, there's been a lot of, I've heard from a lot of people, residents in town that are concerned about this. And I feel it's only fair to let the townspeople decide how they want to go about this. I don't think it's fair for us to, demand that our townspeople go a certain way or not. So with that, should I make a motion?
You certainly can make a motion. I don't know if you want to wait until you hear some
Hear-
public opinion,
we can do
or you can make it now and we can discuss, your
So,
motion.
so the other thing that I think this would do is it will slow down the process, because I think that we've really been, this has been a confusing period, especially with changing of town administrator. The trash contract was signed, I think, I'll use the word under duress, because we were really limited in time. And I think that this would allow us a little bit more time to get our ducks in a row. And it would also allow us to bring this to town meeting where the public can vote on this, whether they want automated or manual pickup. So with that being said, I can wait
Or
with
you
my
can-
motion. No, I'll wait till after public comment.
Can I respond to that, or should I wait until after public comment as well?
No, let's air it out here on the board. I did have one first, and then we'll have public comment. I did want to ask Mr. Belanger if that does, if that's something that the board is, willing or wanting to consider extending the time frame through the end of the year. I'm assuming that's agreeable under the contract, because as I read the contract, we have our choice of either manual or automated.
Absolutely. This is a choice that is provided in the contract for the town and the town only to decide.
Yep.
You can stay at the higher rate manual collection, or you can opt to move into the lower rate automated.
And that could be done at any time.
Well, as long as we get the stuff we need to do it, yes.
Yep. Okay. Yes. Okay.
I just wanted to check with you, Paul, and you, Andy. Did you feel like you were signing the original contract under duress?
Yes. We didn't have a chance to bid it.
Okay.
Like, we found out in November that contract expired. We actually didn't sign the contract till way after January 1st,
Mm-hmm.
which technically our contract ended December 31st. So
Mhm.
we were, I don't know, won't say distressed, but we needed to make an agreement, really didn't have any negotiating power.
What about
Yeah.
you, Paul?
No, I agree with that. I mean, I felt at the time concerned that we were dealing with the option of either having no trash and no contract versus, having to sign what was placed before us. So duress in terms of, the legal sense, no, but did I feel like we were placed in a Hobson's choice that was not a good one, in my opinion? And I can say outside of, our control to a large degree. I don't think we need to go into the reasons why it was outside of our control, but it was brought to us at a point where we were faced with, we're either going to have no garbage service or we sign this contract. And that gave me cause for concern, for sure.
I guess if that was a cause for concern, why did none of you do anything about it until now?
I raised it at that time, but I was,
But
the response.
since then, like, once we had that contract signed, we could continue with what we had, and then if there were concerns about how it happened or what the bid process was, we could
We
have.
had already signed the contract. I mean, there's a termination provision that would need to be followed under the contract. And I didn't, feel as though we were in a position to somehow default on our obligations under the contract that was signed.
And Letty, this isn't about going backwards, this is about going forward.
I am absolutely trying to go forwards. I'm just trying to understand why, if members of the board had concerns, you specifically have stated publicly many times over and over that you thought this was a mistake.
Mhm.
And yet you have voted to approve this the last two times it came before this board. You said yes to this, like this has not come up before now, and I guess I'm just wondering why.
Because we're at a point now where we can make a decision, and that's why we're making it, that's why I'm making it public, what I would like to do.
Okay.
I would like to put it in the hands of the taxpayer. I don't think it's fair for us to make the decision. I think that the taxpayer should make the decision, one way or another, if they want to go automation or if they want to keep it manual. But I think that the townspeople should make that decision, not us.
So I would say that they did in March when we presented this budget that had 6 months of manual pickup followed by 6 months of automated pickup, and that budget was approved right off the bat. I know it was discussed many times in public, both here at the public hearing, at town meeting, that this was part of the operating budget. So I think the public had a chance.
Well, and I think that from what I've heard from the public, I think that we should give them another chance. That's all.
Yeah, and I don't think this whole issue has come into focus, frankly, until more recently when we had Mr. Belanger, coming to us starting, I want to say in late April, early May, to begin these discussions. And then we've had a few meetings where we've discussed it since, and this issue has then really been brought into focus and has become crystallized.
And again, all I want to do is slow the process down. I think if we can, we're looking at if the way that we were going here, we were going to have a start date of automated pickup on September 1st. That's September, October, November, December, 4 months, $4,000 roughly to keep it the way that it is, and then we can turn it over to the townspeople and have them vote on it.
Well,
And
technically, if we turn it over to the town, this program wouldn't get up and running until June of '26.
but we have time to put that in the budget.
I mean, it depends. I suppose if it got voted on at town meeting, then maybe before June, maybe like mid-April.
No, because Casella then has to order all the carts, get a delivery schedule, get them all out.
What's the window on that, Mr. Belanger?
Once you have the delivery list I was speaking of, where you've seen the Excel spreadsheet with all
Right,
the addresses.
so we have that.
Once we have that, well, you don't have it yet. You have the addresses. We still need to know whether some of them are two-family or not, but that's minimal.
Okay.
Then you have the decision of, because once you make that decision,
Excuse me. Folks, this is important, so I'd appreciate it if we just have quiet in the room. Thank you.
so once we order those carts, if you go 95.95, and we deliver them, that's what they get. So what most of the time we do this, we try to get the word out, hey, here are the carts that we're proposing. Let's take some time for you to look at them and digest them and decide for your particular household, what do you want? And when you go with a regular program, most people, yep, I'm good with the regular, and you just have a small group of exceptions. And that could go either way. That part could be accomplished if we continue the efforts that we're doing now, even if you're going to postpone. But once you get that list, you're talking about probably an 8-week max from order to delivered.
Okay, so for example, if we knew, because this was going to be now fully aired and then also fully discussed at town meeting, so people were making their decisions right then and there in mid-March, when could this be deliverable on your end?
I'll use a real number of March 31st is the approval day. Then add 8 weeks onto that, and I would safely say that you're well within that time frame.
Does that bring us to?
The end of May.
Okay.
Because town meeting realistically should be on the 14th. It's not, I don't think
It's
it's
not
on
on
that.
that one, no.
But if people had their decisions made because they knew what was going on at town meeting and determinations were made, and say the decision was to proceed with this ordinance and to go ahead with automated, and people knew right then and there, because they would have to know what cart sizes, so you knew all this information and you had your delivery list, and you had all this information now by March 31st at the latest, when would the deliverable happen?
8 weeks.
Would it be?
In 8 weeks, yes.
8 weeks from we could give them the go date.
Like today's date was 6 weeks I was given, right?
Right, but there was still a lot of work that we were doing in the interim.
I'm just saying, in other words, had we had the delivery list and we knew what we were gonna order, the delivery date was about 6 weeks at the current situation, what's going on out there in this region. For the cart company we were gonna use, their delivery schedule that was open. So I'm adding a couple of weeks onto that, because I'm not sure what's gonna happen next March.
Okay,
But typically it's quieter in March than it is in July.
fair enough. Any other discussion amongst the board before I open it up to the public?
Yeah, I just want to clarify this email that you sent. You had said if the town creates a hardship criterion for future requests, then we can work with the town for a reasonable fee to help with hardships moving from the larger to the smaller. Could you explain kind of in more detail what you mean by that?
Yeah, so once you've established the initial order and you deliver it to the houses, then we've fulfilled our obligation to provide the carts to every household. And then if you have people that want to send us back a used cart that needs to be cleaned and redistributed to someone else, there are fees involved to go up or down. It's typically like all the towns that I know of, like we just did one, I think it was for Drake-it, and I want to say the swap fee was right around what it is in Hudson right now, which is $75.
Would that be the resident that pays that or the town?
That's up to the town to decide, yeah.
So if we go with the larger ones and somebody, when they get the larger bin, is like, oh, this is too big, then it would be a $75 fee to switch to the smaller one?
Yes.
So people ought to know that before they get the cart, because, and that would be the whole idea.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
thoughts, the standard procedure is send that coming soon flyer out
Right.
and explain to them, hey, we have 2 different sizes. We got some time, come look at them at the town hall or at the library or whatever, and let us know if you disagree with what we've chosen. You'd like a smaller one in your case, because you're going with 2 big ones, right? And,
Right.
and then take that Excel spreadsheet and just start populating that list for the exceptions.
Right.
And now you've got hopefully a bunch of happy people when they get their carts.
My only thought about this, and I appreciate that, is, and I was concerned about this at the work session, is we're creating a policy and procedure to move this forward, and we can adopt it if that's what we want to do, but I'm also concerned that, you know, it's not until town meeting that we will have an ordinance in effect that will have teeth and enforceability. So that's my, you know, concern from a legal standpoint.
Which would be another reason to do what I'm proposing. So,
Can
It's
we,
a factor.
can we not have can we not have a policy separate of an ordinance?
No, we had discussed having this policy and procedure in advance of going to town meeting with an ordinance. That's what we had
but there's a
discussed.
difference between a policy and an ordinance.
I guess that's my question. What is the difference?
Enforceability.
Yeah. So we can put this out to the public, but they don't have to, that if they don't comply, there's nothing we can do about it.
Well,
Yeah, the trash.
the trash won't get picked
Right,
up.
right,
So
right.
we don't have to do anything because
I
they'll do it
understand.
for us.
Right, but still, I think, you know, we don't want people just piling up trash because we don't have enforceability. You know, the idea would be to have something legal and in an ordinance. So that, you know, I had expressed that concern last time. We had spoken about the idea of, well, do we call a special town meeting for this? But there was the hurdles of going through a special town meeting as well.
Andrea, would it be possible for you to clarify with legal, just because our handbook says, and the RSA says that we are allowed to regulate trash collection and transportation. So, and I know other towns have done this just via ordinance by the select board. So can you just clarify?
We have, that was done. We spoke, we had communication specifically with Attorney Spector Morgan, who said specifically in her communication that she needed to, that this would needed to be done at town meeting in order for an ordinance to be effective.
Yep.
Now we-
So the question that I had about that last meeting was that Stratham did it just through a select board public hearing process. And they're also a town just like we are. And they're less than 10,000 people, which is the
So
other
maybe
thing you had mentioned.
Maybe they did a policy, but not an ordinance. It has to go before the townspeople in order to have an ordinance.
Just telling you what council, our town council, you know, said. I can show you the.
Would you like me to contact them myself?
I don't, you can, but it's not necessary because I've already done so, and this is specifically what we were advised. I can show you the email if
I
that would
saw the email.
make you satisfied.
No, just. Okay.
I mean, she did also say that there's a mechanism that we can do this through a special town meeting she felt that that was definitely doable. But I know there's concern, you know, at this board about having to call a special town meeting to do this, so. All right. If we've fully exhausted this over here, I would open this to public for comment. So please come to the mic if you have any comment, and
Thank you, Tony. Oh, that's fine too. Yeah, whatever. I forgot, sorry.
Hi, Tara Hafey, Eleanor's Way. Quick question. I did a quick calculation because normally when we have a cost, we do a cost per thousand for the household. And it looks like to stay with our current system is about a 6 cents per thousand. And I could be wrong on that, I'm guessing. I threw the number out to Letty and some other people. So I'm guessing it's about a 6 cents per thousand, which results in $24 per year for a $400,000 house to stay with the current system, if we're able to stay with the current system. My next question is, kind of going along with that, is there's 1,700 houses. We all already have barrels. How do we dispose of those barrels, and do those cost as bulk, and are we have to pay to get rid of the good barrels that we already have to get the rental barrels that you're going to provide us? And third, if someone wants a third barrel, that's $245 per year that household needs to pay.
225.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay, $225 per year for that household to pay, which is substantially more than the $24 per year, which really covers one trip to the landfill. If you have to make one trip per year, you're covering that $24 for a $400,000 house. So I guess I'm just curious, one, we have all these bins we have to now get rid of if we move to automation. What's the cost and how do we do that? What's the process?
Yeah, we addressed that at the last meeting, but I'll let Mr. Belanger explain. I haven't done the calculation that you just did on a per thousand basis, so you
Okay.
know,
Thank you.
if anyone on the budget committee wants to, you know, do the calculation and let us know. Well, by longhand, you know, feel free. But
It's close. I did, sort of in my head, it's close. So I can address two of those items. The third one is stating a fact, or a point. The disposal of current bins or carts is a common portion of converting over in every town that we do or city. And typically it's comprised of usually we find two components, and we use both of them as a rule. Most towns choose both, okay, to be flexible for their residents. The first one is in the coming soon flyer and the subsequent instructional flyer that gets delivered with the bin. That one has an accessory paper on top that addresses how to get rid of your old bins. And we usually give them two choices. One, if you want us to just trash that bin, and the town is on board with this, leave a note on your bin, and when we do your last collection of manual collection, we will toss it in the truck with the rest of your trash. Also, you can supplement that, because not everyone gets the notice, or they decide later with a drop-off at the Public Works Department or similar on certain dates where we can get them all in one place and in some cases recycle them, send them down to a recycling center. Other cases, they have to be trashed because they're either too degraded or they're not the right type, or they have metal mixed in with plastic. So that's the common way of getting rid of the old bins. Then some people save them for doing yard work and just moving stuff around the house or whatnot, and then dump it into, to their big bin afterwards. But
and not to interrupt you, but that does go toward our tipping cost. We're taking trash in, your extra bins, you're throwing them in the truck, that's added weight
yes,
to our tipping. So we'll have to pay more, basically, as a town to get rid of your old bins.
Yes, and
Okay.
it's the town's choice,
Yep.
yeah, so.
Yep.
You know, it's, I don't feel it's a large cost, because these things don't weigh much to begin with. And for most of the ones that I've done, I would say about 40%-ish of the people participate in wanting to get rid of them. Other ones, they give them to someone in another town or a relative or whatever, they use them internally, but it is a cost of disposal, right? We're willing to do the labor along with our other labor, because really there's not much labor there. Instead of doing this, you know, we're just tossing it in. And then the second question she asked was the difference between curbside collection contracted versus the extra cart subscription fee being lopsided $24 a year to $225 a year. And that is because of the additional costs that come along with it. You have to deliver those carts. You have to start with taking the order and doing an admin, setting up an account for that resident so we can bill them direct. That takes time and money. And then you have to deliver it and subsequently remove it if they don't renew. We then obviously have to collect it up to 52 times a year. And then we take the disposal exposure. So let's say that everyone that rents one of these carts could have up to 50 pounds per week in there. And you multiply that by 52 weeks, it's a little over a ton, right? And at the town's cost, well, let's call it $100 a ton roughly, okay? So you're exposed to potentially $100 for that resident that rents one of those per year. So we want to give the town back that percentage on an average so that they can say, hey, we're not treating any one resident any differently than we are the other ones. The people that get the extra barrel are paying the town back for the disposal portion of that in that 225. So it is not, they're not going to match. Does that help?
Is there,
Just to understand, it will cost us more to be able to dispose of less. Is what I'm, and I know that's.
No,
that's
because
simplifying
the
it.
$24 that you're talking about does not account for tipping fees.
Okay,
So if we continue with manual pickup, I think the limit now is some number of, I don't know how many trash bags it is, some number of trash bags, which we then have to pay for separately of the fees that we pay Casella, just to pay to throw it in the
there's a
landfill.
limit
My
in our
question-
present ordinance of 8 trash bags at 35 gallons per
okay.
trash bag. So we're at, presently at 280 gallons versus what we'd be going to, which is 95 gallons.
So my question then is, when you determine the budget for this fiscal year, did you use the tipping cost average, or the weight for the tipping cost based on historical weights? Or did you do it based on what the new barrels will, typically weigh?
I think it was done based on 6 months at the old and 6 months at the new.
No, she's talking tipping fees.
Tipping
Tipping
Which was
fees.
done at historical and not
Right.
calculating.
So then
New
that doesn't
volumes.
change that $24 a year for a $400,000 house? Okay.
I think the difference, ma'am, is the $24 isn't being spread out by all households. When you figure the cost of the disposal fee now is not being spread out it may be only 100 households, not,
Yeah, and I understand that
that's why the
because
difference between.
for instance, we most likely will not go above the 2 barrels. However, I do know that one trip to Raymond is going to cost me more than $24. So Christmas week, or we have a party, anything like that, I already know that's going to cost me more than $24. So that's why I'm trying to figure it out is, plus on top of that, having to throw away 1,700 households of existing barrels. Just seems like a lot of waste to me, but that's just my personal opinion. Thank you for listening.
Yeah, you're welcome. Is there a part of the business plan for Casella to end manual pickup at a certain point in time?
That's a great question. I get asked that a lot. Even as Pinard Waste, I got asked that a lot.
I try to ask one good question.
It's a great
A meeting.
So it is a great question in that everybody that is still doing manual collection wants to know why we are moving over to automated. And what's happened in our industry is indicative of what we're seeing in the country is that people don't want to work as much as they used to. So finding these laborers on a job that has, you know, a little bit of stigma to it, right? You know, I'm out there in the winter, in the summer, and it's 100 degrees, and is not where most people want to be. They'd rather work at McDonald's for 18 bucks an hour than make 20 bucks an hour working for us. So the extra 2 doesn't mean that much to them. The trend you're going to see is that a lot of my competitors will not bid a manual collection contract anymore, period. I've had 3 of them in the last 4 months, and all 3 of them were refused to bid manual. They presented an automatic collection, and that was it. Casella has a history of embracing their roots, and their roots were, hey, give the customer what they want. But in this case, they're adding a caveat to that, but you're going to pay for it. So their $4,000 a month difference is going to get to 6 to 10, you know, over the years as it gets harder and harder to get people to jump on the back of a truck, you know.
I did receive an email, I think the select board received an email from Kristen Aldrich, who's the chair of the planning board, who had said that that there's real risk to the workers and laborers, and that it's one of the highest risk jobs as well, working off the back of a truck. And that was, you know, something that she wanted to at least bring out for people to understand and consider.
You are, again, maybe you ought to come work with us. So this is.
No, I'm retiring soon. You can.
Yeah, I recall the first
You don't need
time-
another lawyer.
The first time this happened was in Newmarket about 20 years ago. Yeah, some people in this room might remember not, one of the laborers got killed. Truck ran into the back of the truck. And I thought to myself, you know, boy, I've been doing this a long time. I've never heard that. It's a one-off. And lately I've heard that it's not a one-off. It's actually school buses and trash trucks get hit from behind at an alarming rate. So from a standpoint of a legal sense, other than what I said earlier about the labor crisis, right? That is a big concern for big companies, you know, like I can't mention names, but the big people in our business, they don't want to get ultimately sued for continuing a practice that is ultimately.
Or paying huge workers' comp premiums.
That too, yeah.
Yep. So, all right, Brett.
Rancho South Road. At the last meeting, you talked about possibly asking for a dumpster at the town garage for cardboard, because that is something that actually has value. That would solve 2 purposes. Number 1, we could get some money back on it potentially, and the second is it would reduce the amount of recyclables that have to go into the bin. We all know in the Amazon world, that's sometimes the biggest part of our trash on recycling day. So where are we at on that?
I think Mr. Belanger said that that was something you would be amenable to,
In the email, it was a $75 pickup fee, no rental fee. So they would just charge us $75 every time they had to pick up the dumpster.
Could we start that now?
And would that be subjected to tipping fees as well, or is that?
No, that's all inclusive. Any dumpster rates that you get, everything's built in, it's baked in. And on cardboard on call, we typically, you know, everything goes in the same bucket now. You know,
Including
that truck,
recycling, right?
well, that truck is going to go and do your cardboard dumpster.
Mhm.
Then they're going to go to McDonald's and pick up a single stream dumpster that may have some bottles and cans in it, so on and so forth. But when it gets down to the plant in Boston, you know, it gets shaked out. But since it's cardboard, as you just mentioned, cardboard is the most valuable, not by per ton, but by volume commodity in the single stream mix. And because it presents about 40%-ish of the entire product that you'll find for recycling. And since it's always either paying money or paying a lot less money per ton than trash is, it's a good way to solve two problems. One, people that buy refrigerators or Amazon, and they just have so much of it a medical emergency where people get lots of boxes because they have a medical condition. These are ones I've ran into in other towns. That's why I mention it. They have an outlet other than their bin.
But we wouldn't make money on that,
No.
correct? Some people are suggesting that we could that could be a moneymaker and offset the cost of something else, and that's not the case. It would actually be a $75 flat rate pickup fee when it's full.
Yeah, the best way for me to describe this for anybody that wants to understand the economics, you have a $500,000 truck with a $130,000 a year driver picking up in a 10-yard dumpster about 400 pounds of cardboard, okay? The dumpster costs $1,500, okay? There's no scenario where anyone's gonna get rebated unless they were to take that cardboard themselves down to a redemption center and get a few pennies for it.
I just wanted that clarification
Yeah,
for
great customer.
our people. Okay.
Does taking it out of this single stream with the rest of people's recyclables help on that side?
It hurts, but not enough where it could hurt us. So when you take away from the curbside golden goose, we'll call it, right, which is about 40% cardboard, you're dumbing down the valuable stuff that's in those carts. But it doesn't happen enough. This is an accessory program for hardship, right? You're not gonna ask, you just don't want people trying to stuff stuff into a cart that is not gonna work. But, you know, normal weekly stuff, you can probably get in there, cereal boxes and small cardboard boxes, flatten them down, maybe go a little above the top with it, and as long as it doesn't blow out, you're good. But when you have a hardship, like Christmas time and stuff like this, where people have a lot of boxes, or medical emergencies for some people that get a lot of medical boxes in for their conditions, more than the norm, they need an outlet, and this is a great outlet. It's a low-cost way to take care of that issue.
If we did dumb it down like that, you know, with the curbside, you know, as you characterize it, I mean, it sounds like at that point, it's all trash. And if we just did trash as a pickup, would that reduce our cost? And people would then just bring cardboard to town hall? Yes. Well, let Mr. Belanger,
So-
but thank you, but let's
So
hear.
just
So the answer is simply yes.
Okay.
But if you jump into it
It's
further.
an echo.
So I'm a waste counselor for the state of New Hampshire. Governor appointed the waste council that DES reports to, okay? And what we're seeing in New Hampshire is exactly what you're seeing in all the states that surround us. And that's, we are heading towards ordinances where you must recycle, you must compost, you must get C&D and stuff out of the waste stream, not going into landfill. You must recycle mattresses. All these things are coming, and they're coming fast, okay? What I've recommended to any town that's decided to go with the low-cost, slightly lower-cost trash-only program, I've recommended to them to think about what it's going to take to restart that up if it becomes law, when it becomes law. And then you also have a good percentage of your residents that, you know, some people don't buy into recycling and they're not emotionally tied to it, but you have certainly a percentage of your population that is passionate about it. And so you have that fight you have to fight, you know, through your
Tony, there's a lot of people that think that it just all goes to the same place.
They do, yeah.
You have trash, and then you have recycling, but it all ends up in the same place. Is that true or false?
It's totally, so the only time that was true was in January of 2018. I don't know if anyone remembers that China shut us off in September of 2017, and it crashed the commodity market to the point where there were no buyers for the commodities. Plastics, the only thing that had a buyer was aluminum and tin, I believe, at the time. And so even Massachusetts, that has a very strict recycling ordinance, you must recycle, you can't take it to landfill or burn plant. For January, they allowed all the plants and all the landfills to accept recyclables just to get rid of this big backstock that had been piling up for 4 months. And that's what started these rumors, because it was true. They trashed the recycling. But the next month, it recovered.
So that's false. So that's false.
Yes, and to this day, anybody that wants to go and see their materials, Brentwood's materials, is welcome to go down to the plant in Boston. They do tours every day. They love doing them, and they will be amazed by the technology. They just did a $20 million upgrade down there. It's the most sophisticated plant in the region at this point.
Maybe Andy Gray could organize like a field trip.
There's a lot of them that go on every day, schools and
Yeah.
businesses, and you guys are welcome. Anytime you want, we can set that up for anyone that wants to go.
On that note, somebody had told me recently that there's actually a law on the books, an RSA, saying that New Hampshire has committed to reduce the amount of solid waste that it produces
Yes.
by some year. Is that true?
They are at the end of establishing the new solid waste rules, which are covered under 149.
Speaking of the mic, please. For the online people, speaking of the mic, please.
Excuse me, that'll come from here, so you're not like directing Mr. Belanger? Thank you.
I forgot where I was at.
Yeah, sorry about that.
What was it?
uncalled for.
The legislature mandated.
Oh, 149M, yes. So 149M is the RSA that regulates, solid waste in the state of New Hampshire. And it hadn't been updated since the early 80s, and they are in the process of doing it now. Some of the new things that have come on to the books are composting food waste. Similar to Massachusetts, if you have so many pounds per week of food waste compost in your business or whatnot, and you live within your business is sited within 20 miles of a compost facility, then they're gonna require that you compost. And over the years, this will, the threshold will get smaller and smaller. It started off as a ton a week in Massachusetts, and now I believe it's down to like 500 pounds per week, and that'll happen here.
Thank you. Yep, come on up.
Speak right into the mic if
Yep.
you would.
I just have one question for you. Can you give us an actual amount of what it costs for recycling versus disposal of trash?
I can't do that in this forum, no. So when we do a performer on a town, it has to take all the different truck values and the labor values, and to do it in my head, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Can you present our board at some other date what it is, so that we will know whether it's more efficient for us to just trash everything or to continue with trash and recycle?
Yeah, so currently you're in a 5-year agreement. I could give that, but the numbers would be skewed 4 years from now, 4.5 years from now. In other words, you'd have to redo them again to consider it in the next contract. So, but if you wanted a hypothetical to use for data, talking points
Yes.
for today's market, that could be done within, a short period of time.
All right, and also if maybe you can, so that people can actually see what the bins are like, can you have a 65-gallon and a 95-gallon either maybe on display here? Do we have one on display here?
That was the plan.
Just out of curiosity, because most people don't know, like, I don't know how big a 95-gallon one is.
Yep.
You can fit inside it very well.
65.
Yeah, we had displayed it at one of the meetings, but I think the idea also was to have it on display at other places as
Right.
Let's
well
be
as part
kind,
of the.
she could fit into the 65-gallon easy. no
Yeah,
problem.
yeah,
think-
for sure.
Thank you. If you can provide those numbers, I would really be interested in knowing the cost factor between the waste and recycling.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly interesting, but as Mr. Belanger does point out, we are in the middle, or at the very beginning, actually, of a 5-year contract. So it may not be a lot at this point we can do, but it's certainly something to, have as a point of interest.
So,
That's the 95, correct?
95.
That's the 95.
Surprised how easy this rolls. So I'll leave this one in here for a visual, and I'll pull the other one out in the hall. And when you leave, if you want to push it around, be my guest.
Give people drives.
Will you get in first, Mark?
Not as hard as
See
you
what
really
it's like
think it-
loaded.
No, I don't have an issue with that. I was just wondering the actual size of it. So someone, an average household in Brentwood could not only need one of those to dispose of their trash. It's a huge container. Well, thank you. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Can I just ask a follow-up actually to that? Tony, under our current contract, would we be able to switch to only trash, or are we required to continue recycling with you?
That's a great question. I do not have an answer for that.
Question.
Yes. I don't have an answer to that question.
Okay.
I believe that since they've geared up already, they would have to look at, excuse me, equipment costs that have been already, excuse me, that we've already purchased for. And then, let's say it's 2 trucks now, right? Just
Yep.
use a number at 40 hours a week.
Yep.
That'd be 80 truck hours per week. Then they did the model and found out that if you were to, thank you, if you were to convert over to trash only, you still have your 1,700 tons a year of trash.
Right.
And you still need the capacity to pick that up. What you're saving on is the truck hours of those 80 truck hours that you don't use. And that's an easy calculation for us. We do it all the time. But whether there's like a penalty that would skew it for you?
So the short answer is maybe.
Maybe, yeah. I'd have to get, these are great questions. I will, as before, I'll bring them back. I'll find out, what it looks like for your particular town. And I can answer that question, going forward. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Byrd?
Ward Byrne, Row Road, East Brentwood. How did we end up in this trash mess in the first place? And I know why, but I want to hear from the selectmen, because I don't feel as though there's been any accountability for the problem. It's been, well, let's just don't talk about that. We had this trash thing forced down our throats, and there's 3 selectmen that felt it was a rush process. And there's a reason for it. And it's because somebody wasn't paying attention to our previous town manager. And she got us in a pickle, in this pickle. And same with our finances, in a pickle. Now we had to hire a CPA to straighten out the finances. It's like, this, what are we paying people to do here? And now it's going to, either way, it's going to cost us money. So do we save money by doing this? I don't know. Is this the way of the future? Probably. Should the townspeople decide on it? Probably. This should have been discussed at town meeting in March. This was going on at the first of the year, and nobody, Letty, you said it was talked about at town meeting. I don't think so. It was not.
It was.
You may have had it in the budget, but you never discussed it because the budget was voted on lickety split. Somebody got up there and went boom, and that was it. The budget was over. We never got to talk about anything. That's a fact. We can go back and look at the video. This nonsense, and I'll call it nonsense, needs to stop at this level. Because we as residents are paying again, and it's like almost like drama. Like, what is going on with the town? If it's not finances, it's trash. What's next? Another thing I'm upset about while I'm here is that never once is the town of Brentwood gone out and bought a fire truck with just funds after a town meeting.
Ward, can we stick to the issue at hand, please?
Well, the issue at hand is people aren't doing their job. That fire truck should have been voted on at town meeting, period. Just like this should be voted on at town meeting. The fire truck that they just bought?
The one from the federal government?
No.
No, oh no, the town just bought a fire truck a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
All right, let's stick to we're talking though now about.
All right, we're talking about trash.
Yes, we are.
Well, and I'm talking about accountability at the front.
Okay, appreciate that.
You're representing the people of Brentwood. I think Jim has a great idea. Bring it to town meeting and let the people decide how we want to spend our money.
Okay, thank you for your position.
Jim Burrow, Scarborough Road. Sorry, but when you're listening online and someone goes off microphone, it's difficult to hear. So if you could always remember to speak into your microphone, even though it's helping the people that are listening online.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Now, trash. We all know, we're all saying manual versus automatic, right? We know that the industry's going automatic. So we got to look at this realistically. Number one, to have a 95 and a 65 gallon on display in the town office, all the residents got to wear their big boy diapers and come into town hall and see if that will work for them. As is presented at the town meeting, they then can decide, okay, I like this, I don't like this, I want to keep with manual, but they need to see and feel and touch. And I behoove every resident, and I've seen the talks and the chats and all that stuff, they've got to come in and physically touch and feel and see what it is that they can deal with. Ultimately, we're all going automatic. We know that. Secondarily, there's no difference between recycling and trash at this point in time and space. It's gone away. So we got to come to that realization. Lastly, we had at one point at the highway department, we had the metal compartment where people can come in and drop off metal. We had a secondary dumpster. Maybe the select board could think about large ticket items. The town, the residents come to town and pay their whatever fee to drop off large ticket items. I know it's coming at 1 or 2 times a year, but if the town folks had some avenue to pursue where they could drop off large ticket items in the budget, it's just an idea, a concept where there are alternatives here. So as we move forward, we all know, even though what he said is manual pickup, ultimately, whoever we pick as a trash pickup person is going to ultimately go toward an automated. I know everybody wants to say the same with the manual pickup, but eventually that's going to come to an end. So we've got to be able to come to grips with what it is we can look at. And if the town folks can physically see and touch and feel, it may come to a situation where, okay, I can live with this. And I behoove you to have each of those on display. Everyone's coming in to register the cars, come in and touch it and feel it. Pick out your, you know what I mean, what you think. Because at next March's town meeting, when we all decide, if we decide for automated, then the town folks are going to have to decide, do they want the 65, do they want the 95? And they've got to have that in their back pocket, because if indeed it goes automated, we're going to need to transition fast, and the residents are going to have to pick what it is that they want. And the whole idea behind one for trash, one for recycling, that's really got to be looked at before the town meeting, because ultimately there's no difference between trash and recycling. So we're picking up 2 barrels of 95. Maybe that's enough for a family of 4, family of 6. If we exclude the recycling moniker for one of these 295 barrels. That's all I got.
Yeah, no, appreciate it. Good points. The idea of, and we'd have to work this out with Wayne, if there was storage at the town shed, is that something then that you would be able to pick up at various intervals, bulky items?
So first off, on the bulky conversation, I serviced this town for 5 years, and maybe I'm getting old, but I kind of remember doing bulky collection, and I thought we had it in this agreement too, that it's already there. The pricing's already there for curbside bulky twice a year.
No. We're a sticker program that you pick up 2 items a week with the regular trash. currently.
But that's how we deal with it with residents. It's possible that what he's talking about is, for them, it's the same.
Right. You're charging us a different price than what we're charging on our sticker.
Right,
Yeah.
you're discounting and spreading it out through the tax base a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty common. To the point of, utilizing your current DPW versus going out to commerce. You don't have to worry about labor, you don't have to worry about transportation. The only thing you have to worry about is dropping it off and going away. And so when you build a program from scratch, it sounds good on paper until you have to manage that program with employees and a litany of things that could come up in terms of, the day-to-day operations. If you use Raymond on Prescott Road, I'm not trying to sell for Casella, it just happens to be right there. Hampstead uses it, and Raymond also uses it, even though they host it. And 3 or 4 other towns direct their residents. Deerfield recently has done it. The cost per item, you can't get any cheaper. It's impossible for the town of Brentwood to replicate those services for less money. It's just a fact. You could have some hardship programs we set up for people that have a legitimate hardship and maybe can't make it too. But I would probably say, let's do that at the curb and allow for a discount at the curb to help those hardships, people that have a small vehicle or they're too old, they can't lift, a number of things. They may be handicapped or whatnot. I would solve the problem that way versus trying to build a model. I kind of remember that you used to have 2 10-yarders over on maybe Middle Road or something like that, in the first contract that I did, that had something for annual, people could drop stuff off and we would go over and dump those containers. And I didn't see it in the current, no? Does anyone here remember that?
Mark Kennedy, Land Use Administrator of the Town of Brentwood. So you're talking about the 30-yard dumpster that we used to have at the town shed?
No, I remember that one, but there was another location, and I could have sworn it was, no? Okay.
No, that was the only one of my recollection that we had for trash, and we had
it was
to
a
find
special
money
event.
somehow, and that was one of the ways that we got saved. I remember an incident where we had to save money. Lady, help me out.
That year at town meeting, the operating budget was cut on the floor, and I believe that is one of the places where that board at that time made the decision to cut.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, could I request a 65-gallon? These 295s are ones we use right here in the town office for recycling, but could you drop off a 65 and we can have them on display? I
Yeah,
think that's,
absolutely, and I would,
because if you can't see it, touch it, feel it, you're not really gonna know what you got when you're in
and I
for.
think I'll replace these 2. These are rotationally molded carts, and they add to the perception of size. They look bigger than the new modern ones that we have. So I'll probably take these
Can we
away.
have rotationally molded ones then?
These are rotationally molded, so
Yeah, I know.
they have the appearance. The ones that we'll actually be delivering
Oh, they're the,
have the thinner, right, and so they, even though they're not, they still have the same capacity.
Yeah, I'm
To
with
the
you.
eye, they look smaller,
It was
so.
a bit of a joke.
um,
If you could drop off, please drop off the ones that we will, if we take this contract, the ones that we will be getting, two 95s and a 65, so we can have them on display here at the town office.
Yeah, we'll drop off do you want one and one, or what? Why do you have two here?
I have two 95s. These are ones that we use for our recycling here
they're
in the
for
town
you.
Office.
Okay.
Yes, yes. No,
Yeah.
I just got them on my truck.
I was wondering how you ended up with these cards. I was like,
I
I
just
don't
keep
know
them
if
in my
I wanna
pocket.
know.
Yes.
These things are old.
I thought that was
Um,
pretty clear about that, but that's okay.
Yes, I had suggested at the first meeting back in May when I came was that I'd love to get you some display units, not only for here, but anywhere you
Mm-hmm.
feel it'll add value. And it doesn't really matter whether it's now or 4 months from now. It can't hurt to have them now
Oh,
to get
yeah,
the
I want-
buzz going.
Yeah,
I want-
no, I think we need
Yeah, I
to
would li- I
to
would
do
like them-
that
like them
in
now.
several places. I mean, yeah.
Fire departments, libraries, wherever you
Exactly.
feel
No,
it
it's
has
it's a
value.
great, it's a great idea, and
Yeah.
I think we should implement that immediately.
Yeah, if you could get that going, Mr. Belanger, that would be great.
My pleasure. I just like a little advice from Andrea or the
Yep.
board as to how many locations you guys can talk amongst yourself and figure out where would you like these to be, and get me a wish list, and we'll make it happen.
Probably up by the rec, town,
I would say fire,
fire,
library, and here, right?
probably up by the rec too.
Yeah.
Rec fields.
I think he just uses dumpsters, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't know how much extra traffic we want to put in through the fire department to come look at barrels.
That's
Like,
a good point.
like
You
maybe,
also have your schools when they go back in session.
Yeah.
You know, maybe there's events that happen there where parents come.
All right, we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Any other public comment, or do we want to bring a motion forward that you were talking about earlier? Okay. Can we let the lady in back go first, Jim? Thank you.
Michelle Steigels, South Road. Question, on the containers, is it $2.25 for each barrel?
For an extra one.
For an extra one.
Okay, so we get 2 free, correct?
Correct.
Right, and you were saying that you've got a list of the houses and everything on that. What if it's like a two-family house? How do you know something's a two-family house?
That's a great question. So if I can answer it, we have this list, and there are codes. Letty Bedard helped me identify some of the codes. Unique part about Brentwood is I've seen one 5-family, which is really only a 2-family, because the other 3 units are actually in Fremont. It's one building split over 2 towns. And then everything, I didn't see one 3-family.
Better not be charging us for that.
Yeah, no, we're only picking up from the 2. The other ones are them who will not be named, okay?
So how do you know if someone has like an in-law apartment in their house, and they've got their elderly parents living there, or
Yes.
they've got their kids? How do you know? How do you know that?
The code has the tax card has a code on it, and it's an accessory dwelling code, or a 2-family code, or so on and so forth. The only ones that I'm having a hard time with are the ones that are ambiguous. There's maybe 5 or 10 tops, I think 5, that say 2 to 4 family. That's the code. Well, which is it? Is it a 2 or 3 or 4?
Right.
So we would have to dig deeper into them, but we handle all that even post-delivery, right? As we're delivering these things, the phone's ringing. Hey, I'm a 2-family. How come I only got 2? And that's very common in these conversions that we do. So ultimately, we monitor as the deliveries are going out, and we wait for feedback. And anyone who has a concern, we address it one-to-one.
And part of the notice too, if, you know, we send out the notice and it, you know, is seen that it's a two-family versus a one-family, you know, then the idea would be to bring that to our attention at the town.
Okay. I think that what Jim was saying about letting the town people go and vote on it, I think that's a great idea. Because I know there's only a few people here tonight, but at the town meeting, you can get a lot more people there for everyone to be able to discuss it and then bring it up. Bring it up for a vote at that point in time.
Thank you.
Lastly, Jim Burlow, Scrabble Road. Lastly, if the board could come up with Casella's help on the definition of one trash, one recycle, instead of 295s or 265s delivered to the house for trash. Because we all know recycling is just another fancy word for trash. So if that could somehow be massaged into what's really going on here, because if you're going to just forbid one of those 95 bins from doing anything but cardboard, does it help us? Does it hurt us? I just urge the board to really think about that with Casella's help to see what are we dealing with here.
Right. Well, we need the information, and I think Mr. Belanger had said that he would look into that and provide that information.
I think he's saying something different than that.
Okay.
If I may, correct me if I'm wrong. I think what you're saying is, first off, I think you have a belief that recycling is not getting recycled, and that's your right. And you don't particularly believe in recycling yourself or other people, okay? And you want the option for a resident to choose to have two carts that are both trash versus one designated for trash and one designated for recycling. And this is something I could not help you with. This was something that would have to be borne by the town, decided by the town, and ultimately.
Right, but I think you were asked earlier about what
About the cost between.
Yeah, about what the cost.
Going to trash only versus recycling.
Yeah, and what that would look like.
Two different questions.
Yeah.
I believe.
And as the automated driver pulls up and sees two cans, how does he know which one is trash, which one is recycling?
So blue cover is recycling and black cover is trash.
Okay.
Yeah, and
that is something I urge the board to really consider with Casella.
Yeah.
As
Well,
far
as
that is
as we
concerned.
spoke about earlier, we're in a contract, so that, you know, there may be, you know, ways that we can look at it, but there also may be ways that we can't. So
Can I ask, did I have it correct? Is that what you were trying to state, was that you were advocating that maybe people that don't want to recycle could get two trash bins versus one trash and one recycle?
Yes. Or truly, I get the concept of recycling. I totally get it. But if the vast majority is cardboard, it's being thrown in with the same trash that gets thrown out, I don't know.
No,
I don't know. And if it's more expensive to do the recycling move, what are we doing?
I think we spoke earlier about perhaps, you know, some sort of town location. Brett Ramsdale raised this for cardboard, which would then put a different mixture to the recyclable, and that could be something that we would look at.
Yes, for people that recycle but have a lot of cardboard, it's a certain percentage. It's not a large percentage, but it makes sense. Every town that we service has to address this issue, and they usually come up with a couple locations for cardboard dumpsters to try to ease the pain of the size of the cart.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Jim Hager, speaking as the chair of the Municipal Budget Committee. I think this board may already be aware of this, but I'll just throw it out to the public. Michelle Sudit and Gabby Kelly have a sub-team of the Budget Committee specifically formed to look at trash recycle. And I know this is in the early stages, but one of the things I know looking at was something that the RPC did with the Northeast Resource Recovery Association in terms of how they do recycling. They've done this with the town of Newton, town of Hooksett. Again, this is early stages, but I think at some point, they would be presenting to all of us in the town, maybe some ways that we could improve on doing our recycling in town, lowering the cost that, that Casella taking away, not doing away with Casella taking recycle, but if we can do away with some of that tonnage, get some money for it. So I just wanted to put a plug out and let you know that they are looking at this. There are people looking at this. And, but again, it's pretty early on. And by the way, I don't have my scientific calculator or computer with me, but I think $48,000 based on last year's evaluation is roughly 6 cents per thousand or $27 on a $400,000 house.
Thank you.
On that note, Tony, if the town wanted to move not away from single stream and to pre-sorted, is that something that we would be able to do with you or no?
So pre-sort is becoming coming back, a resurgence from the 70s, we'll call it, and again in the early 80s we saw it. As commodity markets present themselves, we lost our paper market in the United States. China basically put them all out of business. They're starting to resurge, some of them. The whole country has become super focused on sustainability since then, and so these markets are now becoming more viable. We are seeing them with towns that have full transfer stations. I think Mr. Haja spoke about Hooksett, which has a fairly large facility that was already designed for source-separated recycling many years ago. They're my neighbors. And I don't see in Brentwood a value of adding balers and equipment like that, and again, labor and other potential items that may come up, bonding, insurance, that type of thing, traffic, only because of the number of tons per year.
Relatively low.
Yeah, and you have a very successful program at the curb that people enjoy. I want to say that, you got 30 people in this room right now, right, from the public, and you got 1,700 households. And I would think that, if you were to poll your 1,700 households, most of them would like to keep the fact that they're getting picked up at the curb versus going. So not enough revenue to be enjoyed from what you might get. But it is a great concept for some towns.
Well, because my understanding is that's one of the reasons why recycling is more expensive with single stream is because we're paying someone somewhere else to sort it for us.
I can't comment on that. That is not an accurate statement because it could change for each town. But
I guess what I'm saying is when it's a single stream, it is getting sorted somewhere else, kind of to what everyone's saying. It's not just put in a big bin somewhere.
So if a town like Brentwood decided to start separating out the valuable items from their households at the transfer station, and you were to look at the number of tons of recyclables that you produce per year and say, okay, 9% of them are aluminum, and you figured out what it would cost for a baler, how many tons of aluminum that is, which are about $3,600 a ton right now, right? It's a lot of money, right? You might end up with a couple of tons per year, right? But you still have to buy the machine, load the machine, take the bales out, put them out for delivery, and then send them to market. So it's kind of comparing apples to onions when you say versus going down to Boston and putting it into it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
George Phillips, 3 Ponds Drive. My question is, what happens if the bins get damaged during pickup?
So,
like for instance, somehow the lid gets ripped off.
Sure. So this is cart 101, 3 components: lid, body, wheels. And every week we're going to be out here replacing lids. That's the number one component that gets ripped off because it hits trash. Wheels are the second one, comes down uneven, hits the curb on one side but not on the other, breaks the wheel off. You call, we've come.
At no additional cost?
No cost, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Trying to think if there's any. No, they're the same size. My trash typically in a week fits in about a 3x3 face
Yeah.
size bag.
I drove the town twice now in the last couple of weeks, and I was surprised at how many one-baggers we got out there. But again,
That's
why
think
you
I
want to
have
make
like
that custom list for the people that have big families versus the ones that are
yeah,
empty nesters.
I think I have like a 40-gallon.
Yeah.
And it's way down in there.
Yeah. Empty nesters and, elderly people, they don't have the consumption that they
That's
used to have. Yeah.
That's 120 families.
Yeah.
Our development.
Yeah, so your development most likely going to choose 65, right? So, and that's very common in these programs.
That's going to be trouble fishing something out that got put in by accident.
You just tip it over and
Then put everything else back in.
then put it back in.
So our motion to bring forward at this point.
I would like to make a motion to keep the trash pickup the way that it is right now, manually, until the end of the year, where we can adjust the budget and then bring it to the town meeting for the townspeople to vote on it one way or another,
Or by way of ordinance.
way of ordinance.
So the motion should actually be keep it manual until after the vote of town meeting.
Okay?
Right.
Yep.
Town
Then-
meeting subject to ordinance or warrant.
The vote of town meeting, whichever.
Too late to ask a question?
Um,
Just based off what the motion is.
Go ahead. What's the question?
Evan Crafts, PV Drive.
Yeah.
Is where are you getting that money from? Is it cutting from other departments?
Good question.
So we have $4,000 a month times, we have 4 more months in the year. Call it in May, we have 5. Where's that money coming from? Also, the manual pickup, $45,000 a year right now. Is it scalable? So in 2026, is it more money? Or
The
is it set
contract is
cost?
it's tied to the CPIU for trash pickup or something, which is,
Like COLAs.
but it's no less than 5%. If the CPIU is higher than 5%, it will be higher.
Okay.
You're good. So it's currently 6.1 this month. It's been hovering around 5 in the previous months, but
So it's scalable.
it's minimum 5.
Yep.
The greater of 2, 5% or the CPI value,
Okay.
whichever one's bigger.
Yep. My question is, I guess, where's that money coming from?
Well, that's a good question. I think, again, we have monies in the general fund to cover, that type of expense. It will, as I understand it, however, exceed the budget line. So, I mean, there are certainly monies to cover it, if that's the question.
Is it you take from the general, or are you going to ask the department heads to cut?
We haven't had that discussion.
I think that's a big one. Public safety.
Any thoughts or discussion on that question?
So I don't know when the last bill was paid to Casella. But if we're up to date, according to the budget that was just printed, it looks like the waste disposal budget would handle the $20,000 thereabouts. Recycling would not.
So that brings us almost halfway there.
Yeah, and I think that we discussed it that, could come out of the general fund. And Andrea, do you have?
I was just going to say, it is a bottom line budget. We've been told by the budget committee to overexpend lines, which we can do. But, you know, if it comes down, when we can expend from the general fund is if we overexpend the bottom line, and that's when you go into the general fund.
But you would need DRA approval.
DRA and budget committee.
I think what everybody's thought of general fund is the bottom line balance. So yes, we would have to ask certain departments not to expend certain amount of monies in order to, as the year progresses, we would have to look at the budgets.
Yeah, and it seems to me we're talking about relatively modest amounts in order to get this to the voters. That's my
Right,
thought.
we're not talking about a year from now. We're talking about getting this to town meeting so that the townspeople can then vote on it. Simple as that. Yep, yep. We have money in the general fund that would cover that without asking any department heads to.
No.
I just want to clarify, there isn't a general fund. Like, there's not a fund where we can just pull money from.
Well, there's a
It is one of
reserve.
the three uses of expending from your unassigned fund balance. One is buying down the tax rate, one is if you overexpend your bottom line, and the third is, and it escaped me right now, I apologize, but there are three times you can overexpend.
Sorry, so is that what we're talking about? What are we talking about?
I think if you overexpend, I think they're just worried about overexpending the budget. I think,
The bottom line.
Yeah.
Right.
But the solid waste budget should be, if it's overspent, we're bottom line, it evens out. So, I mean, you
Right,
can
but I
ask
think
department heads.
What Andy said is that we would then have to tell other departments that they can't spend money to balance out that. Is that right?
Right, because
Okay.
I don't believe DRA would give approval because we didn't want to change.
Okay.
It wasn't an emergency reason why we overspent the budget. It was a choice.
But there's not like a separate general
It's
fund
not
somewhere.
So it's the unassigned fund balance
Right.
that
And that's not.
DRA could give permission to spend.
Unassigned from last year?
Yes.
Oh, and that's not necessarily true. It doesn't have to be an emergency. There was another town that they had to. They were $97,000 in attorney's fees that they did have a healthy unassigned fund balance, and the DRA did allow them to.
But that is an emergency.
You
It
don't
wasn't a
want it.
planned.
Right, well.
I'm terribly sorry to interrupt here, but Jim Brillo, Scarborough Road, as you approach December 31st, you talked about an unassigned fund balance. You've got to be very careful that you don't need to appropriate this money before midnight, December 31st, to carry us through the early part of 2026. This has to be encumbered.
So I'm not talking about expending the unassigned fund balance. I'm talking about spending within the budget.
Spending within the budget, but December 31st comes around, that's the end of the story, unless you encumber funds before midnight, December 31st. Otherwise, you're breaking the law.
I don't think we're going to have funds left over to encumber, Jim, but
You've got
that's
to
a
pay
good
this
thought.
contract through at least March, April, May.
Well, that would come out of the
The manual fund.
2026 budget,
It'd be
which was
very-
already budgeted technically because if we keep the same budget, it would already be budgeted.
I'd be very careful. I'd consult your legal people as to what's happening here, because that could be a very slippery slope. Thank you.
Could, Ward, Byrne, could the funds come from the same pool that was used to build the pickleball court that wasn't in the budget? That's a serious question. It was $150K.
I can answer it seriously. No, those were ARPA funds, and those funds have all been earmarked.
There has been funds earmarked for the recycling program and the crash pickup for opera. The board did vote on that back in December. I don't know if that is of use.
Yeah, that was to offset the,
Because this budget was under budgeted.
yes.
So Janice from the library. Are you aware that the RSA's governing libraries does not allow money to be taken out of our budget once it's set at town meeting? And I would wonder if there are any other departments in town that are like that?
No.
What's that? There are not.
Nope.
Are you,
Library's different because they fall under library trustees.
Yeah.
We're financially obligated for the rest of the department.
I wasn't sure if under 105 we're not allowed to touch operations and budgets.
We're not allowed to manage operations, but monies come down to us.
In any
So if
event,
anybody
I mean,
wants
we
to look-
weren't discussing specific,
No, I just want you to be, like, if you're thinking about this, like, be aware that
we haven't
those are
even-
not funds. And
it's like down the road. I mean, we're not.
And if I look at
Yeah.
budgets, I'm
Just
looking at
putting it out
highway. Unfortunately, Wayne still has a lot of money left over. And, well, his snow and ice budget still is pretty high.
On paper, he hasn't done any roads yet either, so he's still got $300,000 in the roads line.
And we still have 73,000 in snow and ice, so.
Kathy Began, 16 Parsley Lane. I don't understand if this is something that we're gonna eventually need to move. Like, seems like every town around us has automated. Then why are we going to just like keep pushing this down the line when we're gonna eventually go that direction anyway? That's my thought.
Thank you. I think just in general, the thought would be to bring this to town meeting and get it to that point so that we would at least have the ability to have an ordinance and a warrant in place for this.
I think
That would be the idea from my vantage point.
I just think you're putting too much thought on the ordinance. Like, we don't need an ordinance to get this done.
Understood.
But we do have a motion on the table that we probably should get to.
I agree.
Mark
Last
Kennedy.
comment.
Yes, Mark Kennedy, Prescott Road. My concern is how, if approved, you have to start putting together the budget now, soon, for next year. So if you go ahead with this motion and approve this motion, during the budgetary process, are they just going to figure, how do you figure that out? You have two figures, one approved, not approved? And with the tax cap, Jim, help me out. And with the tax cap, you would,
Yeah, well, for next, you're talking about next year's budget. For fiscal year 2026, if they approve doing this, then I would suggest that, what the Budget Committee would suggest to the Select Board is that you fund next year the same way you did this year, 6 months of manual pickup, 6 months of automated pickup. Then at town meeting, you have a warrant in the budget. So now we forecasted 6 months at the higher manual, 6 months at the lower automated. We have a warrant that specifically says that, do you approve, let's hypothetically say it's still $24,000. $24,000 to keep manual pickup for the rest of this year. So if the people vote yes, then we keep the trash pickup the way it is now. The money, that extra money that is needed is warranted and put into the operating budget. If they vote no, then you proceed and you have, he said it takes 8 weeks. You would then be at end of March, you'd have whatever, you'd have those 8 weeks to get us to automated. That's what I would
not
suggest.
binding, is it?
What's that?
Because it's a separate warrant article, it wouldn't be binding?
It would, because it's a dollar figure. You're spending that amount of money.
Meaning we couldn't spend it on anything else, but we don't have to spend
Correct.
it on that.
Select Board doesn't have to. I
Okay,
agree, but I'm just, the question was, how would we do this? That's how you would do this, I would suggest. And again, I think it also goes back to, we're talking about $16,000, $16,000 on a $6.77 million operating budget this year. So we're looking at 4 months. To let the people vote this, it requires 4 additional months. That's it, because the best we could do is put this in place by September probably. So you have you're really talking about $16,000 more on us.
For this year.
It'd be the
For
budget.
25.
Yes, for this year.
But I'm talking about next year. When we do our budget for next year, you just take you budget it for the higher amount, and then.
6 months of manual, 6 months automated, and then you have a warrant.
Okay.
People vote, do we want to keep manual? And that has the funds, now appropriation to fund the additional.
Yeah, we got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we've got a motion on the floor. Is there a second? I am going to second it.
Can you just say the substance of the motion again, because it was a long time ago?
Sure.
Do you mind rephrasing or restating?
So the motion on the floor is that we keep the trash pickup the way that it is right now, manual pickup, until town meeting, and we let the group bring it to the townspeople and let them vote on it.
Yeah, and I seconded it. I think it's important enough for the people to decide, is my thought. So we'll take a vote. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All against?
Nay.
I haven't decided. Because an I vote means I just kicked this can down the road because I won't be here.
Weren't you the one that also brought us this contract?
I did, but I brought something we didn't have a
You
choice.
may not be here, but the Board of Selectmen or select people
I'm
will
just-
be here.
I was using a bad pun that nobody got, so
You are literally.
The body politic will be here.
that the kicking the can down the road.
Well, and we have a missing select board person, so we don't have a.
We have a quorum. We have a quorum.
We do, but
Yep.
we don't have a tiebreaker. But
I'm an I.
Okay, so the motion fails, which.
No, it
no, it passes.
Oh, you said aye?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Then the motion passes. Sorry about that.
It wouldn't have failed, it would have been tied.
That's true. Well, then it would have failed at a tie, but you said aye. Sorry. Old ears. All right. This will be brought up at town meeting with a warrant and with a proposed ordinance, and we will go from there.
Should have to be two separate warrants.
Yep. Next on for regular business. Thank you, Mr. Belanger.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you.
And can we just kind of estimate out where we're gonna fall in expenditures so we can
That's on the agenda.
find out?
Yeah,
Budget
I agree.
update.
No way. Enjoy.
Yep, thank you. Thank you. Still getting over my embarrassment of calling the wrong vote.
Yeah, wow.
At least you did appoint the wrong Miss America.
Yeah, it's true. Dexter, I think you're up for regular business on Historical Society. I know we had the issue which was part of old business from last time, so I don't know if you want to re-raise that as well.
Like, I think the problem last time was there was a question about how much money was in the budget.
Right.
So has there been a reconciled budget? Do I know, can you give me the figure, what it is presently for the maintenance fund?
Do we have that?
Those bills were paid out of, and you already know, the pest services. So we just gotta move the money. So you're still at, what's he at?
$3,518?
You will be at $3,518 on Thursday when I void that final $70 check.
Perfect, okay, thank you.
Was there new business with regard to,
Well, that was the problem last time,
that was the problem, so the
Yes.
problem solved?
hopefully.
Okay.
Yes. The reason is because there are, at Dexter Swayze, Old Gordon Road, I'm president of the Brentwood Historical Society. There are repairs that need to be done over at the Historical Society, the Grange building, it's a town-owned building. And there's a possibility of getting a grant through the New Hampshire Preservation Alliance. We've got bids from historical consultant and construction consultant, historical construction consultant, and that cost is $6,500, of which New Hampshire Preservation Alliance will cover matching half, 50%. So that leaves us to come up with funds of $3,250. We have remaining in the $5,000 budget that we had for the Grange building under maintenance is $3,518. So my proposal is, I see no other, at this time, repairs, small repairs that need to be done. The priority is the bigger assessment of the building and the bigger problems. So my proposal is to, of that $3,518, to take out that matching $3,250 with the approval of the board to apply for that grant. Then we get the assessment. And once you get the assessment of the building, and we've already, the Grange building has already gone through the New Hampshire Historical Building Assessment, which is a caveat for us. So we're already one step ahead. With the building assessment, they'll come in and do a comprehensive assessment of the building and say, of all aspects of the building, and come up with a comprehensive plan in terms of like priorities, what needs to be done. And if that's done, then you can go to the next step, which they are very favorable of in terms of other grants and stuff. If you don't get the building assessment done and then try to go for grants, the way grants are now, it'll be very hard. So my request is really to look at trying to get this building assessment done with the hope that they'll come up with a long-term, short-term and long-term plan for the building, and then we would then qualify hopefully for grants in the future and stuff.
And I think we had talked about approving it subject to making sure that the funds were there. So if we want to memorialize that by way of a motion.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I am abstaining. I don't know if I have,
Yep.
I'm recusing myself.
Yeah.
Do I still abstain or
Perfect.
am I recused?
And if you're recused.
Yes, I didn't know if I had to abstain in addition to recusing or if I just
No,
don't.
I think you're recused.
Great.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Good.
Was there anything else?
No.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
That was a hard act for me to follow, though. And I thank all the people that helped me with this process.
I think we need to formally accept resignation of, I'm sorry?
I have the resignation letter, and that's really just one sentence, or do you just want to accept it? I can go get it.
I mean, we can just accept it. This is the resignation of our building inspector,
Bob Donovan.
Bob Donovan, thank you. Can we have a motion to accept his resignation?
So I can post it. I'd like to post it.
Or Paul, did you do the exit interview yet? Do we know anything about why?
I don't want to speak for him, but it's more money where he's going. Like
No,
$4 more.
I thought, well, maybe it was just when Jed was here. Didn't we do the exit interview with a member of the board and the town administrator just to?
I can do that. We can do that. I'll do it tomorrow.
Prior, it was just the town administrator that did an exit interview, but we can have a member of the board sit on it if you want.
I only have the last year as an example, which is not a great example, so.
I mean, I don't feel a particular need in this instance to be part of, what is your job to do as an exit interview. But unless people want me to, I don't feel a particular need to.
No, if that's not typically how it's done, that's fine. I was just going off of.
Yep.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept his resignation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
And we need to post the position.
Yeah.
We did, I don't know if we still have the resumes from the last go-around, if there was anything?
Had one.
Okay.
Moving on to old business, I'm gonna first call you, Wayne, with road striping. I know you've been waiting patiently.
Hopefully dinner wasn't on the table.
I know you've been enjoying the whole process.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, from, from the last meeting, you want me to go around and check, get a number for you for putting the lines out there on the roads. And, we went around and, what we have is here, we took all the main roads, basically took all the main roads, and we come up with 69 roads. Total of 69 roads. Now, with these main roads, as I went around, I got all the developments entrances. I didn't go into developments and take every road that was coming off to come in or come out. Then I didn't add those, and them are not added in here. But all the main roads around town that has those intersections, it needs a line, that's 69 of them. And so at that point, I left it, I didn't go around and count all the, the roads that, in the developments. And there's a lot of them. I know there's a lot of them. And because most in the developments, when you come out, stop sign is right there and you stop. Putting a line there, I think, we can do it. I'm not saying not to do it. We can do it, but I figured we ought to do it later so we can find out what it's gonna cost us to do these 69. And we can go from there. And at the very beginning of the one that we had for the complaint, I called Aaron Berube because he does a lot of the lining here for the town. And he called me and asked me what we were going to do with this. And he sent me down an email, and he's asking if he could get first dibs of doing all those 69, or how many you guys want to do at a time. And looking at this, and knowing with some of the other towns that started this is not just going to be a one-time deal. This stuff is going to wear off, and you're going to have to go back, and you're going to have to do it again. And the other thing that this leads up to is putting lines down each side of your roads. A lot of the towns now are doing that as well. I know the town of Fremont did it, but they only did a few at a time, and they're working up. You have to probably budget it every year to do this.
Do you have any idea what we're talking about in terms of cost?
No, I was gonna find out if, see what Aaron charges us,
Well, I think that it would be only fair to not give Aaron the first right, but we should get 3 quotes.
Okay.
And I think, right? I mean,
Yeah.
We just put it out to bid, and whoever wants it can.
I think we should get at least 3 bids and
We could do it, but I guess the threshold question is, do we even really want or need to do this? Because I'm thinking to myself, this sounds like like a cost that we may not really want or need to get involved with. I mean, I realize this stems from a specific individual who was complaining about his road and wanting it to be striped because he felt like the stripe was not on par with the stop sign. But then if you do it for one, you have to do it for all, and it just seems to me like a lot.
Are there other intersections that you can think of, Wayne, where the stop sign is far enough back that people kind of creep into it, right? Because it was the Deer Hill Road, Middle Road intersection that this started from?
Well, the one on Deer Hill Road, I can tell you that one down there, the one that we got the complaint on, that one there, the stop sign is back further, and you have to go up, you have to get up there to, see which way. I mean, I don't think that, there's been any kind of accidents because of these lines not there. I think everybody knows where they want to stop, and they use these roads enough that they can, but, got new people coming in, and this, what we need to think about, I guess, do some of the roads that we think.
I mean, I'm not inclined to move forward with this, but I'm certainly open to what others, want to do and think.
So my original thought with this was not every road, it would be through roads. So like Crowley Falls Road is a through road, Scrabble Road is a through road. Prescott Road, North Road, Pickpocket Road, Pine Road, Deer Hill Road. Your roads that intersect with 125, I mean, that was one of the safety recommendations the state gave us with South Road, was to put stop lines in.
Is it my understanding, though, that the state, because it is coming onto the state road, that they are required to do that?
That's not my interpretation, because we ended up paying for South Road.
Okay.
I can tell you way back, when we used to go out there like on the state roads, I was told by a state guy that every road out there on the state road is a state's intersection. It's not, I try to put a stop sign up there, and they put their own stop signs up there, okay? And I was told that, but I have noticed that they put lines down in some of their intersections out there, but they didn't do them all. And like this year, there's a few that they did put out, and they didn't do all the intersections.
So let me call Janet Stevens and find out what that, if we can get that covered by the state, those intersections.
Those intersections that intersect with the state road.
Correct.
Yeah. Which isn't all on the
Well,
list, but.
it's most of our major roads, because
Right, it's our main roads.
Middle Road,
These are our
Middle
main
Road, North Road are both state roads, so most of our through streets connect Middle and North, or go up to 125.
All right, well, why don't we table that for now, and we'll get some more information. Thank you, Wayne.
Okay.
I think we're going to bring back some budget issues, and that was Ms. Bedard, and we'll just wait a moment. Or we can just go into non-public.
Do know it's hot in here.
Yeah, it's wicked hot. Jillian, do you want to see where, did you go? Thank you. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's,
Okay. Moving on, old business, bringing up budget update and fall process. I think that was you, Letty.
Yeah, I was just curious.
like,
I was just curious, Andrew, following up on questions I had at the last meeting, not the work session, about some of the lines in the budget. And then just checking in, because we're like 8 weeks away from that deadline.
I'm gonna send the memo, because the board did vote back in June about the budget process. Yeah, the boards will request budgets by September 11th, and then all other, so the primary budgets by September 11th, and the, all other budgets by the 16th. I'm gonna send the memo out, August 1st, I want it out beginning of August.
Okay, so the
Hopefully get it
departments
before
don't
then.
know that we've asked for that, or they do?
Well, typically, you don't send out, I don't send out the memo until August. I will send it out early, because Jim is doing site visits, so I'll send it out in the beginning of August. And I will try to get, hopefully, I'll get them in sooner than later, but,
Okay.
so.
I don't know what the past process has been. Maybe you do.
Usually there's a budget schedule issued by our past processes, there was a budget scheduled, and every department was given a date that they were gonna present to the board, and their budget was supposed to be in a week before that. But I know because of, we wanted to change that we had all the budgets up front. And I also, correct me if I'm wrong, I heard the budget committee wanted to see them primarily before we did. I'm not sure if that's correct, Jim, or?
Well, I don't think we necessarily need to see it before you have it. I think the thing that I wanted to try to do was, since we are all of us going through a tax cap budget for the first time, kind of give the department heads a heads up of what we think they can have. Like, because if we go out and again, this is my first time going through a municipal budget in Brentwood, but if we just let them send in what they want, everybody sends in what they want, we may have to go back to a bunch of people and be like, yeah, we just can't do it. Where if we together kind of look at this, what do we think we want to prioritize this year? And the site walks that we're doing is just my budget committee's attempt at getting from the department heads, hey, is there something coming next year that's really important that we need to know about, and how much you think it's going to cost? And again, using that to try to come up with, because, right, all of those accounts have to add up to a number that is within the 4% cap. And we've kind of already have estimated that. So I don't know if I answered your question, but it's not necessarily that I need to see something before you or after you. I
Or
think it's more just
contemporaneous, really.
correct. I
Yeah.
think it's for both of our benefit that the department heads are kind of given a target maybe ahead of time, so that,
Isn't the target self-evident, though?
well, a target at the total at the bottom, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
And we've estimated pretty much what that number is. But remember, you have a bunch of accounts, right? And some of them are going to change because we have a trash contract. We know that's going to go up so much. So anyways, yeah, I just think, like, how much are we going to tell each department head they can roughly have? And I don't think you can just tell them all they get 4%, because that won't work. So that was hoping that together we could kind of figure out what do we think those targets should be for each of the department heads up front.
Well,
But I won't know that until we do these site walks, which are scheduled. We're going to try to get them done before the first week of September.
Well, that doesn't really coordinate then with the time that we were looking at in terms of
I know.
getting these budgets by.
I know.
I mean, I don't think we can do anything other than to, ask for, these on the time frame that we were talking about, and then also,
I think
with the 4% in mind.
Sure.
I mean, to
But
me, it's
worth
self-evident.
No, and I think that's worth a start. Yeah, sure, that works. Sure.
Okay. But I do think that those need to, I know you're talking about August 1st. I think, that needs to be a hard, deadline for purposes of, follow-up. Today's the 15th, so.
I'll get them out beginning of August.
Okay.
Budget memo out.
Everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, so about the other questions that I had about this budget?
That was kind of a broad agenda item, so if you'd like to come to my office or send me an email with the specific questions, I'd be more than happy
I
to
asked
answer
the
those for the
specific questions at the last meeting.
What was,
budget update.
No, at the meeting on the 1st, there were specific lines that I asked about. And so that's what I wanted an update on.
what were the specific lines, just so we have those?
Health insurance, website. Currently, I'm curious about the miscellaneous expenses line being overdrawn by 60
Oh, yes.
some odd $1,000.
That one flagged myself.
Telephone and communications is overspent. Code enforcement, we're gonna be over budget, although maybe not now that we don't have a code enforcement officer. Something was applied to highway building repairs and maintenance, that overdrew that line. I mean, I would have to go back to that recording and look specifically at what I said, but that's why I said it in the meeting, because I wanted an update on those.
Or a dog.
I did hear a dog.
Yeah, I did hear one too. All right. We have specific lines itemized. If there are any others, if you can specify, those and,
Please email them to me.
yeah, and
What-
we'll,
If anyone has any questions.
I asked this last time. I don't understand.
well, it was listed as a general, item. So again, if there were specific items that,
At the meeting on the 1st. Does anyone else remember this happening? Am I misremembering that this happened?
I don't recall. I know, you had some
First is the
questions.
one we got evacuated by the fire alarm.
I understand. But I had expressed concern about a couple specific lines, most specifically the employee benefits line, which, given that we're halfway through the year, the fact that it's at 61% was a cause for concern for me. That felt like there was something missing or something had not been applied correctly. I definitely said that.
Yes.
Okay.
So we will have Andrea look into that and report at the next meeting. Obviously, it's not happening.
Obviously, in writing is always best. So if you think of it before the meeting, if you could write those questions down for me, I would appreciate it.
As a member of the select board, during a meeting, asking you to do something feels like it should be sufficient.
It would be nice if it was an email.
All right. We're not going to get any further here, so why don't we move on? Okay. Any other public comment? Hearing? Yes, come on to the microphone. Come to the microphone.
My name's Todd Bradshaw, I live on Pickpocket Road. These budgetary concerns, I know it's all part of the business, and I have to apologize, I haven't attended any board meetings in a while. And I know we have to keep the ball rolling forward. But there's been issues in, past months about money within the budget that's been unexplained, call it what you will. Could anybody shed a little light on that and explain where we are with that? Because I know we've gone to the extent of hiring a CPA, I believe.
Yep.
And where are we? Where
Yeah.
are we right now?
Fair
on that
question.
issue?
So the most recent report, and this is going to be actually next on old business to bring up from Mr. Colby. Do you want to report where he's at?
Sure. He has, he was able to reconcile through 2024 and to gain accurate cash balance as to date. So he's reconciled up to date. And then he said, there's just some data entry he has to do. And then he will review and reconcile account balances, which it would be your ambulance, or, we've asked about the ambulance specifically, because that one, we really need to dig into that one.
Bottom line, as I understand it, there's an accurate cash reconciliation through the end of 2024. And what he needs to do is reconcile transfers and deposits.
So am I safe to understand that we're all resolved and back in order?
Through the end of '24 from an actual cash basis. So we're most of the way there, correct?
But not a complete.
He still needs to complete transfers and deposits.
Any time frame there that we can count on?
I would say within the next month. Not sooner.
Thank you, appreciate it.
On that same note, do we have any word from the audit?
Where are we
Do
with
not,
that?
we handled the non-financial part of the audit back in June. So once he's done with the data entry, he can do the financial part of the audit. And he knows the gentleman there, he worked for this auditing firm at one point in time, so.
Yeah. I think part of his report was that he was preparing the last pieces in order to get us ready for the audit. That was an email from when? What was the date on it?
Today was the most recent, so.
Okay. Any other public comment at this time? Okay. Otherwise, we are going to go into non-public for personnel pursuant to 91A3(2). And we're going to go in for legal as well. So I would ask for a motion on that. Motion to go into non-public.
I'm not making a motion because I have no idea what we're going into non-public
Same.
for, so.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Good night, everyone.
Personnel pertaining to hiring for financial officer or manager, and also legal pertaining to a settled matter that I wanted to provide an update on.
Motion.
Seconded.
Roll call.
Aye.
Aye.
Letty?
Abstain.
And I'm an aye, so we'll go into non-public.
Yep.
Why don't we take 5 minutes?
I don't know about that. His ringtone. It was Laura Hajaz.